Hey, welcome back. All right, so in this tutorial, we are going to start adding sound to our platform. And the first part of this tutorial is going to be going out and finding sounds. Now, we could go to Fab or some other thing connected to one of the other sites connected to Epic and Unreal Engine and find some sound packs like we've done in the past. And you might actually have some sounds in your sound pack that you want to use, and that's perfectly fine. The process is kind of the same, except this tutorial is going to be focusing on where to get them and then turning them into a sound cube inside of Unreal Engine. So let's go ahead and just jump right into that. Okay, so let me minimize that. We're not going to be there for the moment. So the first part of this is going to be about Audacity. So Audacity is the software we're going to use to convert our files that we download from MP3s into OGGs. MP3s would work, but the OGG format works a little bit better as far as for the file format that we want inside of Unreal Engine. And we'll go over that in a minute. So where are we going to get that? Well, first off, I have a link down below in the description. AudacityTeam.org is where you can go to get this. It's a free site, free software, and you can download it and install it. And it gives you some pretty decent controls for managing music and sound, making sound effects and things like that, and kind of combining them all together. Now, this tutorial is not going to go into deep usage of this software. There are plenty of tutorials out there. If you're interested in doing that, I'm sure you can find some, but we're just going to use it really briefly to do a slight modification to one of the files that we're going to download and then convert it. So don't have high expectations about learning how to, mix sound here in this tutorial. All right, so the place we're going to go to get some of these effects is this site right here, ZapSplat. So we're going to go to ZapSplat, and again, it's free. You may not even need to create an account, but again, it's a free account. If you set it up, you can put your information in there and then download. I think you can also download without actually having an account. But if you go on here, a lot of stuff is free. There are some premium accounts. And it's free because you have to give attribution to the creators of whoever created it if it's one of the ones that you can free download. Of course, the premium ones, if you pay for them, you don't have to give attribution. But for learning how to create games and putting some stuff out there that's, like this tutorial and other free things for people to use, attribution is perfectly fine. And the sounds I'm actually going to use for this are these two sounds here, but let's talk about the licensing real quick before we get too far. So most of these are going to be standard licensing unless you paid for it, and that falls into one of these down here. Okay, there's a list of permitted uses and prohibited uses and things like that. So you should probably read through all of this, but as a free downloader, we can use it in unlimited number of personal, commercial, and broadcast projects worldwide. And there's a non-exclusive basis. And you can download only a limited number of MP3s per day. So keep that in mind at a time. And then you have to give attribution to ZapSplat wherever possible based on their outline here in this agreement. So just keep that in mind whenever you're using free assets. And it's the same discussion we had when we talked about textures and other things like that, models. Whenever you download something, make sure you understand the licensing for it, especially if you're going to try to sell your game. Okay, so the sounds that we're going to use. I am going to use this sound right here for the button push. Okay. And then this pulsating sound right here for the sound that the platform makes as it moves, so like a hovering sound. There are some other sounds on here that are really cool. So you don't have to use the ones I'm using, but if you do want to use the ones I'm using, I put links to them so you can find them directly down in the comment section. I put links to all of these sites, in fact, that I'm using today in the comment section so you can check them out. So to download it, basically, you just kind of click on the download button, and it gives you a choice of a WAV or an MP3. I'm going to download them as MP3s. I typically do that. And then once I download them, they'll go into my downloads folder here. And then I typically create a sounds folder like this so that I can hold on to them and keep them for future use. So I would recommend doing something like that, creating a library just like we do for our textures and for our 3D models. You never know when you might need to come back and use them. And if you've already got them, it saves you from having to search through tons of stuff. I'm using these so that you can kind of follow along with what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'll be using some sounds out of one of those folders. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to Audacity. So like I said, download it, open it up. It is free. And then a couple different ways to get your stuff in here. Typically, if I'm just doing a one-off type thing, I can just click and drag and drop it into here, okay? Now this is the pulsating sound, and you can see from here that it is 24 seconds long. I'm going to make it so that it's twice that, just to kind of show you how to do that. But let's kind of go over the buttons real quick. Of course, up here at the top, you got your pause, your play, your stop. You can go to the end of the track, the beginning of the track, or beginning of the track, end of the track, rather. You can record. You can even record your own sounds over the top of these sounds if you wanted to. Create an additional track. You can combine additional sounds into here. So if I wanted to make it so that both of these, there you go. So if I wanted to make it so both of these were in here, I could click and drag this in here, and it'll give me a second section here. But I'm not going to do that with this one. Yep, right here. There we go. Don't make it harder than it has to be. Of course, there's all these other tools for editing, cutting, you know, setups, all these things. Like I said, we're not going to get into all these different buttons. All I really want to do is I want to take this and I'm going to double it, and then I'm going to change the format from an MP3 to an OGG format. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to go up here. I'm going to go to edit. Actually, select all. There we go. So I'm going to select all, and then I'm going to just right click on it. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come down here to the end. It's really not this hard. There we go. Right click, and then I'm going to paste it, and then I can drag it and drop it so that it's right next to it. Now, if I hit play, of course, it's really loud. It's going to play from over there because that's where I was at. But if I want to test it to make sure everything kind of moves across here nice and smooth, I can click anywhere into here. I can hit play. It'll start there. And yes, it's a very annoying noise. And we're going to make sure that we use this kind of as a background noise so it's not overwhelming in our actual game. All right, so now that I have all that set up, and if I wanted to make sure that it was a full 48 seconds long, it's close. It's right there. We could make this longer by continually pasting more and more. But the reason why I'm doubling this in length is because the way we're going to set it up in our game, we're going to set it up so that it'll play. And since this is kind of a sound that it doesn't really kind of matter where it starts or ends, this is a convenient sound for that so that we can get it to play, and then we can just stop it wherever we need to stop it, wherever the platform stops moving. We're going to set that up in a future tutorial. All right, so now that this is done, all I need to do is make sure I have it selected, this track selected. I can file, I can export audio, and then this is what it's called right now. I'm going to change this. I'm going to leave it a .ogg. That's the format I want to use, is a .ogg, and I'm just going to make this call it hovering platform. Okay, and then right here, I'm going to make sure I put it in my sci-fi folder in my sounds. And then right here, this is the format, the OGG format. You can see you have other choices. That's the one I want to use for this. I'm going to leave the rest of this all default because that's what it's set up as. You can even edit metadata and give yourself some notes so you know what this file actually came from. So I'm going to go ahead and click export. And if I looked into my sci-fi folder, there it is right there. All right, so now I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my downloads folder, and I'm going to drag in this computer tone. And again, it's a real quick little sound. That's exactly how I want it to be. I'm not going to change anything on this one. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I have it selected. I'm going to export audio. And again, kind of the same thing. And this one is just going to be button push. Okay, leave everything the same. And I'm going to hit export. Okay, so now both of those are in my folder. I can go ahead and close this. I don't need it. And I'm not going to save it. I'm not interested in saving what it was. And then let's go ahead and minimize that, get it out of the way, open up our project. Here in my content drawer, in my content folder, I've already created the sounds folder from before if you were following along with me. If you don't have one, don't forget, you can just right-click, new folder, and you're going to call it sounds. And inside there, we're going to create two new sounds. But first, let's import the sounds we do have. I'm going to grab my hovering platform and my push button platform, and I'm going to click and drag and drop these into here. And they should come in looking like WAV file forms right there. Move these out of the way. If I do a file, save all. There we go. And we can hit the play button. Make sure that they're sounding correct. Now that I've got these two sound waves in here, what I want to do is I want to create a sound cue just like I did for the door. Okay. So if I right click, I'm going to go to audio and pick sound cue. I'm going to call this SC hovering platform. And if I double click and open this one up, it's as simple as just finding that hovering platform wave. I'm going to drag and drop it in here. And for this, I don't really need to do too much to it. I'm going to select it, connect it there. And if I select it, I can also select looping. So I'm going to make this so that it loops. So not only is it 48 seconds long, then if we do end up having a situation where we're on a platform for longer than 48 seconds, it will loop back around. The only reason why I wanted to add that additional wave sound to it so that it was 48 seconds long is because most of my time on the platform is probably not going to be more than 30 to 40 seconds. If there is a case, it will loop around, but it kind of has this little semi-pause when it loops. Most sounds. Not always, but it just depends on the way you have it set up. But this one is kind of a demo, so we'll see how that works. The other thing I want to do is I'm going to select the output here. And on the output, I am going to change the volume multiplier. I already know that it's really loud from what I want it to be. I'm going to drop it down to 0.5 for right now. And then I'm going to hit play. And you can kind of hear a low hum in the background. We may need to come back in here and adjust it a little bit more, either down or up, but that's a good starting place for this one. I'm going to hit stop. Do a save all. Now I'm going to go back to my content drawer. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to create another audio sound cue. We're going to call this SC button push platform. So I know, just in case I have more than one interactive buttons in the future, I don't know. And then with this one, really the same deal. We're just going to drag in our button push sound. I'm going to connect it up. And this one I'm not going to do anything to. I'm just going to leave it the way it is because I just want it to play one time and be done. Just like that, and then it'll be done. And again, we can always come in and play around with the way the sound is as well. So we're going to do a save all on that. That's going to be it for this tutorial because really I just wanted to get the sounds, kind of go over the process of finding them, putting them into a software to convert them to an OGG so that they come in as a sound wave that we can work with. And then create the sound cue. In the next tutorial, we're going to take those sound cues and we're going to apply them to our blueprint so that they play when we interact or whenever there's an interaction with the platform. Right now, our platform is automatic, so the sound will happen automatically every few seconds when it moves one direction or the other, and then we'll add in the hover sound after that as well. Again, if you were having any issues, any questions, please leave them in the comments section. All of the links that I showed for Audacity and for ZapSplat are down in the comments section, so you can follow them from there. And again, don't forget to like this tutorial. If you liked what you saw, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that you can kind of keep up with what we're doing. And I will see you next time. Thanks for playing.